Actually, I had a long talk with our lawyer this morning. No? Nasangkat na magiging siya sa sandigan. Much to our disappointment because there was really nothing wrong or what happened to the fund because kanigong kwarta from the Girl Scout, from the national government, which was in terms of the Priority Development Allocation Fund ni Congresswoman Martinez, was actually from DBM. It was discourse to us as a conduit. I-deposit o gihatag na namo dito sa GSP. Mao man na siya ang one. Yeah, in the recommendation man good sa Ombudsman, it said there ganun kunong Waimowa. This is gibasa bitaw na pa mga memorandum circular gikan sa 1996 which still governs over mga it does not speak of Priority Development Allocation Fund. PDAF will always be dependent on the discretionary of the congressman, which was just being forced to us to give it to GSP, which was earmarked for GSP. So wala gid may kalabutan kamahin sa pag-release niya or pagdayon sa paggasto niya ng portaha. It should be Girl Scout to account for it. I asked the members of the Girl Scouts, kabahin na ng money, were they ever audited as far as the expense of that 15 million was concerned? They were never audited, not a single time. I asked my treasurer, during our time, were we ever audited? Was there ever any disallowance with regard to the disbursement of the 15 million? No, only findings sa Ombudsman nila nakita when the case was already filed.
So what's your next move on?
Our next move is actually to just have it in court na lang. We just defend ourselves in court. That's the best thing that we can do. Considering that wa man gyud tagaan o gibukaton ang amo ang kuan sa Ombudsman, no? But if you really look at it, I had a chance to talk with my mother about the expense of the 15 million. She said, and what they already submitted to the Ombudsman was that they already submitted the liquidation of the 15. 7.5 million went to construction ng building which you see at Balilad, the headquarters itself. It used to be at Pidal Rosario, which they moved. I think you know about that story. They moved it there. They constructed that building because they needed a home for the activities and for the bago ng headquarters for the Girl Scouts. And then part of the money also went to purchase equipments. They bought a vehicle, I think 2 vehicles, service vehicles for their trainings and trainers when they needed to go encampments, seminars, mga kalihukan nila. And also sponsorship for those mga tabang sa assistance sa mga Girl Scout communities for their mga kalihukan, no? One of their expense also was to purchase katong lots bitaw para sa ilubong tong mga na-disgrasya bitaw tong Princess of the Orient. Do you remember? Nalunod itong issue lines. 8 of the victims were Girl Scouts on their field trip. They gave assistance, I'm not so sure of how much, but they gave individually assistance to the families. They bought a property for them to be buried sa Barangay Guba. And then second, they built a monument to recognize itong mga bata o katong mga. As a matter of fact, they said that even until now, pag itong makiti ang usa who's still missing, ang katong ikawalo, huwag niyo po nang makiti ang lawas.
So, question, nanay mga documents na i-submit na nila.
Now here is the one. Because they were not audited and because this case was like in a span of so many years, from 2002 till 2011, siguro na 5, you're counting from about 8 to 9 years. Pag-transfer ko nila and movement, the assumed karon sa Girl Scout, they can no longer find the documents. They're still trying to see what they can get. But just for this case, but more lagi na, had there been any findings before, had there been any audit that was conducted during that time, they would have sufficiently given the liquidation na anang mga papeles. And second, they always pose the question, why Girl Scout? But Girl Scout is an institution, just like Boy Scouting is. You cannot tell me do not release the money because it's a bogus foundation. it is not a Napoles foundation. Pareha na akong mga issues nila. It's a bona fide, everybody and anybody who had been into elementary, mga bata. I've been a Boy Scout since my days sa akong elementary at one point in time. Everybody has been a Girl Scout at one point in time. Mabitaw na nga, lingon sila nga conversation ko, no, because it was for anti-illegal drugs, but that is too broad. I was talking to them, if you look at it that way, how do you do anti-illegal drugs to a Girl Scout community? Well, you instill values. You build them a headquarters, make them proud of being Girl Scouts, encourage them to enroll themselves or to participate in Girl Scout. You have a headquarters that's nice, you do seminars, teach them values, being honest, that's part of already instilling good values sa minds ng mga bata. Stay away from drugs, do outings, do activities. That's indirectly saying this is drug prevention.
So, what would be the effect of this development to your folks and your being
Actually, this happened when I was mayor, and it had nothing even to do with being mayor, because the money there, like I said, did not come from the coffers of the municipal government. The money in question is the money that was held in trust. I think they missed the point that this money, the different number of issue, had it been money coming from the municipal government that I released to Girl Scout, that would have been a very big issue. Kaya gikan was panudlanan sa municipal government of Pugo. But this money was not municipal government property. This was money coming from the PDAF of a congressman. And that's why I think this is now the basis of the Supreme Court saying, do away with the PDAF. Why? Because there are no guidelines set sa pag-release ang PDAF. Just as much as we were saying, you cannot tell us that MOA or something, because it does not follow. In 1996, there were no rules and guidelines pertaining to releases of PDAF because it was all in trust. And it was the discretion of the congressman.
So you'll be filing a case in court?
No, na naman yung kaso, we will just defend it there in court sa Sangguniang. But, lagi naman, it is becoming since my time at Dagan Congressman, it's been looming over our heads, this issue, which is not even really a big, like, for example, this is the second time that they raised it. The first was the 10. The 10 million was actually returned to the municipal government and then realigned na lang for the use of local projects. It was receipted for, it was received by us. Kaya wak man magamit nila, they could not agree on how to use the money. Kaya nag-away man ang, I hate to say this, but naglali sila dito. Kisay mo, asa nila ilapat ang kwarta because for one, the congresswoman who was the proponent of the 10 million wanted it to be spent in her district, but the board wanted to be spending the money also for the other districts, which she said, no, this is my discretion, my PDAP. If you want activities to be sponsored with by PDAP, you also ask your congressman to pitch in sa Girl Scout. But this money, I put it here for an activity nga to sa akong district. Wa sila magkasinabot, she decided, I will return the money if we do not decide. Nasakit man siya. She was sent to the hospital, she had her waiter removed, dugay kay siya dito sa Manila. When she came back, they could not resolve it, she decided, let's return the money para di ta magkaaway. That was during her last term as well. This 15 million, this came, ihatag sa ilaha, they spent it to build a building as a Girl Scout, they spent it for equipments, they spent it for their encampments, and they spent it katong paghatag o ginabang atong nag-discuss sa Pearl of the Orient, a Princess of the Orient. So what's the problem there? It's not a Napoles Group Foundation. So may sama mo. What is our fault?
So say when will be that? Ang court na naman mo decide?
Well, mo na siya karon. Ang action na is that our lawyers, since we have not received yet a copy of any one, ingon mo lang to the last one, which I had to even call the lawyer and look dito kung naabag inaabot because I did not receive any order. I just read it from the news when somebody called me yesterday. So he called me up, he said he will take a look tomorrow morning kung kuan, because the last thing na dawat ako from the report is filed already sa Sangguniang. So what the kuan is going to do, what the lawyer should do is that he will go to Sangguniang and find out where exactly is the case now, or what is happening with the case now. Then we will file the necessary documents or pleadings that we need to file para nakasuhan.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.